Hello, everybody. Our second speaker for this evening is that rare species who is a master of many trades. He started his journey as an actor on the stage, garnered great acclaim and fame in Indian cinema, and went on to become a motivational speaker. But that's not all. Along the way, he did a lot of other things as well, including photography, writing, social work, and whatnot. Constant introspection drives his reinvention, and reinvention underpins the inspiring journey of his life. I'm really excited that he's here with us today to tell us how he does so many different things, what drives him, what motivates him, and what keeps him as hungry as he always is. Please welcome the inimitable Ashish Vidyarthi. Namaskar, Ashish, and thank you for joining us.
Namaskar, an absolute pleasure being here. Ish.
Okay, so starting from the beginning, as one must. From what I understand, your mother was a dance guru, a dancer and a guru. Your father was a seeker, somebody who was interested in many different facets of cultural traditions, particularly the lesser known ones. They came from different parts of the country, yet very similar parts of the country, Kerala and Bengal, and you grew up in Delhi. What were the foundational years of your life like in the way particularly that they manifest themselves now?
So, to begin with, thank you for having me over. Thank you, Nina. I didn't know about the existence of this algebra, which is not saying much about my understanding of the algebra. But having said so, it's so much for me, welcome to life, where life in its own dimensions has continuously told me that there is something more beyond what I think there is. And it started with being born in Delhi, a Malayali father and a Bengali mother from Rajasthan, 65, so growing up in that time, where a whole lot of Delhi was from Delhi. And I was from wherever. And what was interesting in that period was that, and what really helped my case was that I was the only child. And growing up as an only child of, so my father was born in 1912, my mother was born in 1929, and you figure out the biology of it, I was born in 65. So I don't know how it happened. For the longest, I really believed that they were very nice people. So I remember. We used to live in Karol Bagh, okay? As I grew up, I was in Karol Bagh, and Karol Bagh, it used to be the Jain. There used to be this Panna Devi Jain house where I used to live, and there was the Joshi Hospital. We were in that same lane. Right at the end of that was the place where the taxi stand was, and Ma Baba never had the money to buy a car, but we used to always travel by taxi. And I remember, and taxi that time was, of course, the only car, which was Ambassador, and there was one seat there. And I remember one day, Baba was sitting up front right next to the driver. Ma was sitting here. I was standing there. And if you remember that car of yore, it also had a bump right in the center. Do you remember? Yeah? The bump there. I remember I stand there and look around. And Sardarji used to drive this vehicle. He had a tall pagdi. And that pagdi used to touch the rexine on the top. If any one of you recall. And there was a dark spot there because, over the years, over the years, that thing was created. And I one day remember I asked Ma Baba, I was in the rear view mirror, which used to be right here. I looked at Ma Baba and said, Baba, why do we look like each other? There was silence. Oh, what silence? And Ma said, because we eat the same kind of food. Now trust me, I still believe so. At least as far as I'm concerned. Because my parents were not like us. So, welcome to a world in which there was some idealism associated with them. And I was born into, going out into the world, seeing a friend's grandfather and mother who looked a lot like my parents. So at that point, Pragya, the first thing that struck me is that my parents are very old and they will die very soon. And I was like in 5th standard, and when the epiphany struck me, and I knew that there was something different that was happening in my house, and I had no clue about it. So for me, even as people were looking at different things, I was lucky enough to go to a very interesting school, thanks to again Ma Baba, who brought me to a school called Shiv Niketan. Has any one of you heard of a school called Shiv Niketan? 7 Haley Road. A remarkable school run by a German lady, Mrs. Elizabeth Gauba. It also had the distinction that Sanjay Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi at that point in the earliest years had gone to that school. And it was a large school. I had 3 classmates, throughout. From nursery to 5th, 3 classmates. And it was an amazing school, but so coming back from the school, as I would come home, it would be very different because the rest of the people were going to regular schools. And I was in that school. So I grew up in a world which was conflicting. I had parents who lived in Karol Bagh in Panna Devi Jain house, father working in Sangeet Nat Academy, mother a Kathak teacher, around with business people and somebody on the ground floor who had an agency of Rawalgaon toffees. Conflicting world, and I knew that, and it was a vegetarian building. So we were not allowed to cook fish. So I just grew up eating tinned stuff which I was told was Kerala sauce. Except that I would read at times when I would go to their neighbor's house, I would say A, B, C, D, C for C, B for A, and F for Kerala sauce. Because that is exactly what the sardine looked like on that can. So it was a world of conflict, and I realized very quickly, I could never articulate it properly, but I knew that the world is very different from the home that I lived in, where there was a lot of talk of literature and arts and politics and thought and philosophy. Even at that age, Baba used to wake up each morning and read the newspaper and discuss life with me. And outside there were some other conversations. So that's how I grew up, and I kind of...
I'm not going to ask you what took you to NSD, because to my mind, at least, it seems like a natural progression. But what I am going to ask you is that I've had the privilege to speak with a lot of illustrious alumni of the National School of Drama. And what has struck me is that people go there to learn as much as they go to unlearn. What did NSD as an institution in the years that you spent there do for you in your life?
So, National School of Drama happened right after history at Delhi University, which happened after science at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Science. Just loved science. Just loved physics. Couldn't handle math. Something to do with numbers which used to dance in front of me. They still do. In fact, our son who's studying at UC Berkeley, he's doing mechanical engineering. He's 18. I spent 10th, 11th, 12th sitting with him in front of his laptop and saying that his name is Arth. We call him Mowgli. say, Mugu, what are these? You know, those things which are... And he says, Baba, numbers. So that's where I am. And my joke for the longest period was that he's found the math gene. I didn't find. You know, and then people would laugh. And then somebody says, maybe it's not your gene. So life for me has been one in which I got that, and very early on I got that, can we see something else in life? So for me, drama school, National School of Drama, was one in which I was getting into an environment to learn something more about life. So Hindu college history, I don't remember much of history, but I know a lot about life thanks to those 3 years. I was across the road for some of you. I loved it. I was opposite the cafeteria where we used to go to the canteen. If you, some of you know the joke. So Stephens, St. Stephens, it's not St. Stephens, across the road. And we are across the road for them. And they have a cafeteria, we have a canteen. So there are a couple of jokes about Stephens and Hindu. I can't say all that, but one of them it was that it was a joke on us which said that Hindu Stephens bhai bhai, Magar Stephens bada bhai. So getting into National School of Drama post history and 3 years at the Hindu college was, for me, I wanted something else than what the prospectus offered. So I was doing full-time theatre while I was in college. So I knew that there is something else at the National School of Drama, and I didn't know what that was. But I was very clear it was not just going to be the curriculum that they taught me. And I was not surprised because there was not much happening there. It's a painful truth, but what all that one had heard, seeing from outside as one got in, there were only reasons to be dissatisfied. That's why National School of Drama had this history of people continually striking. And I used to always wonder that how come that National School of Drama was the ultimate thing till you got into it and then you struck. And then I said, welcome to life. We love it till we don't have it, right or not? Yeah? We love it till we don't, and then we find reasons to improve it. But National School of Drama gave me an opportunity to immerse myself in something which really inspires me, which is to play roles. And it gave me an opportunity to watch people playing roles. This was across fora, across structures. At one end there were films which were happening which we got to watch. At the other end, there was plays which were, or Grotowskian stuff that was happening. So a melange of things were opened up to us. And coming as a student of history, and what I loved about, one thing about history which I loved was social formations. And social formations gave me hope for life from there till now, is that whatever that is there which you don't like, or whatever that is there which you like, is going to change. And theatre for me was an expression of that. That it is a very here and now expression of what we think literature and performance can be all about. And it also gave me a thing that don't be ready to die for it, because day after you may change your mind. Still I'm there.
You know, it is a tragedy of our times that not much is known about the theatre that you have done. Before we go on to your work in Indian cinema, I would like you to talk a little bit more about what were the definitional moments for you in theatre. I first saw you in Daya Shankar Ki Diary, and it's a play that still haunts me. I think I remember every moment of it, which is not saying much because every moment changes every day for an actor who's doing a play for that long. But what is it about some of those performances that you carry with you today?
So, Pragya, theatre is about doing everything that you wish to with nothing in hand. It's actually a life of the poor. And poor, I mean really having very, very little resources. So Delhi theatre, 83, 86, as I was in college, we started. So I came into my first thing was from school itself, from Shiv Niketan. But then National School of Drama Children's course happened when I was in 9th grade, 12th going out. Post-college was a time of working with Sambhav. And Sambhav was 83 to 86 was a time when a lot of plays used to happen in Sapru House. Do you remember Sapru House? Yeah? So Sapru House is this place where, amongst other things, there used to be the Children Film Society films, which used to be run on Sundays. And through the week, there used to be some amazing Punjabi plays. High literature. Chadi Jamani, Buddhe Nu, and Gawandi, and you know, the variations of that, whatever that you can think of. And it had a wonderful audience, which used to come for it, huh? You know? It was an arts club where people really attended. And arts and thoughts. But, and it's right, if you know Sapru House is about 500 meters from Mandi House, which is 500 meters from Bahawalpur House, which is that entire area where real amazing theatre greats were there. National School of Drama was there, the Repertory Company was there, Manohar Singh, Surekha Sikri, Uttara Bhavkar, Alkazi Sahab, un sab ki jagah wo. Alkazi Sahab, of course, wasn't there at that point, but that's where theatre was happening. The greatest of theatre greats of our times, Ranjit Kapoor Sahab were there, and stuff was happening. And yet, 500 meters from there, we used to struggle to get, we actually had, we had an understanding that even if 5 people will be there, we'll be playing. And Sapru House had full houses. And that's when Sambhav, as the name itself said, it was a group of NSD pass-outs who came together. And they said, we'll form a group in which we will do some amazing plays. And guess what? You know how often? We'll do 1 play each month. And we will create a viable alternative to people going and watching that piece of high literature. And that's when Sambhav was formed, and that's when somebody who was not from National School of Drama, I wanted to go and join. And it was an amazing time because at least for a year, I was doing the other essentials of theatre, which was getting tea, getting script cyclo-styled. Remember cyclo-styled? Yeah. So at Shankar Market, we used to go and get cyclo-styled. I had a Hero Honda, so I used to go and get that. I also had the job of taking some senior actors back home. Seema Pahwa was one of them. Seema Bhargav that time. She used to play Badki in Hum Log. So it was that time when Hum Log was being played, which was being shot at Himachal Bhavan. A lot of stuff happening, and there a lot of us who were really keen about theatre. We got together to try and do something amazing, and with nothing in hand. Our sets were made of blocks, which were folded tables from BK Tent House, Bengali Market. And before each show, we used to bring them on the thela, and after the show, we used to take them back. And that is how it was. Later on, very interesting learning. At the National School of Drama, as we learned set design, one of my teachers told me that we would encourage you to not make circular designs for sets, because you'll find it very difficult, it'll be too expensive. Make it options of rectangulars, because that's where the thing is. Tables. Put 2 tables, certain height. 4 tables, certain height. Rectangular. Circular, how will you cut the tables? So, theatre is all to do with the ability to do more with less. And it was a phenomenal learning ground for me to live a life without complaints. And so what was being taken for granted around was something which was precious. That is something which I really took home even before I joined the National School of Drama. So when I went into National School of Drama, I saw that as a moment. I still remember that visual that I had, that I'm going to be whack, going through a tunnel, and that tunnel will have edges, and it's going to carve me, sculpt me. So as I went in, I said that I'm going to make sure there's going to be zero strike. And not that I'm an establishment person, but I said if I'm going in for 3 years, and I'm not a good student either, I hate the goodness and stuff, but I said I'm not going to strike. I'm going to make the most of these 3 years. And I learned life thanks to my Hindu college and my National School of Drama. So, who's sitting here is a graduate of these institutions.
I'm glad you did learn everything you could about life, because I'm sure it stood you in good stead when you moved to Bombay and decided to try your hand at the film industry as well. You were an outsider. You don't quite look like a conventional romantic hero. And we've heard so many stories about how cruel and difficult Bombay can be before it embraces you entirely, particularly that aspect of Bombay. What was it like for you?
So it's an interesting way. Like, I would love to pose it to the question. So, do you understand what a high art performance is? Yeah, acting, theater, arts, painting. Why do you think an artist becomes a professional, an actor? To essay many roles, right? To play more roles in one life. Yes or yes? Yeah. Not true. I became an actor to feed my parents. That's what actors do. That's what artists do. Except that we can't say that to people. We are professionals just like each one of you here. You know what? We have to earn a living unless we are with quite a few silver spoons. So we don't need to work. So this person went down to Bombay that time, to become a wage earner, to feed my parents. But again, something interesting happened. That entire period, it's a very romantic thing when people call them, that's my struggle period. I never liked that word. I still don't. It just tires you. It just makes people happy for you. I understand. I hope you understand. Struggle चल रहा है यार, नहीं समझ रहा हूँ. चल मिलता हूँ मैं. बात वो चला गया. ये बंदा struggle ही करता जा रहा है. Then I hate this entire story that we all have about how the struggle period was. As if for everyone, the rest of the world, it was cakewalk. So, bhaiya, welcome to real life. And I'm very lucky to have this amazing teacher called Pandit Satyadev Dubey. So, his sentences I cannot speak here. But it should suffice to say that it used to be very hard-hitting. And so if I may just make the sound of it, so, I remember at Rupert Hill College, we were doing these workshops, post-drama school, we are there in Bombay. And suddenly, and actors, and like all of us, we complain in very beautiful ways, right? We don't complain, we just mention that, I wonder, yaar, if they can value us, I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I don't know. You know what we mean. So I was in one of those phases of mine saying things like that, and when he used a word called bon, whatever that means. डॉक्टर ने बोला था एक्टर बनने को कि नहीं आपको डॉक्टर बनना चाहिए क्योंकि एक्टर बनना चाहिए क्योंकि बिना आपके एक्टर बने पूरी दुनिया को खाना नहीं मिलेगा. ऐसा तो नहीं बोला था. And what he really got me connected to is that to take responsibility of one's actions, of even of one's passion. And for me, in that period, I really got that if I am alive, I may at some point come back and fulfill my passion. So, Dubey ji actually, he was amazing, and he still remains with me. He let me know that, he said, at some point, Ashish, people will be wowed by you. Okay, people are wowed by actors. They're wowed by a performance. They feel performance is magical. And then at some point, they will put you wherever they put you. But he said, never ever forget, it's nuts and bolts. And I think it's true of each profession of ours. So even as they get wowed by us, don't we know that it's nuts and bolts? And we had to put the nuts and bolts in the correct order at the correct time. And that was such a great learning for me. I said that I have to keep working on getting it right and allow others to be wowed. Because only after they say, wow, do they pay you money. It's very important. So it's very important to capture the imagination of people, but very important to get, you're just capturing their imagination. They really don't know what's going on. So, it's that duality of this entire thing. Again, welcome to the world of conflict, where people are paying you for something they have no clue about. Just to let you know, the story continues.
Ashish, I have to say, I did not know that we had Dubey ji in common between us.
Really?
And I am completely wowed that you survived him as a fellow survivor and huge admirer of Dubey ji. But moving on, I don't even feel like asking you what your struggle period was like if you survived Dubey ji, because clearly, it would have been nothing in comparison. But one thing that does strike me is that your first release was Drokal, right? And you instantly shot to fame and acclaim, which is sort of, rare, right? With Drokal, it also won you a very prestigious award and so on and so forth. What was it like for you? I mean, to suddenly have this kind of fame and acclaim bestowed upon you. Was it disconcerting in any way? Did it transform you in any way? Or did it make you feel strong or vulnerable or what? I'm just curious.
So just to take you through that day that Drokal released, or that week, and it is there in my memory, and it is, obviously you know that, a film like that releases. So I was at Juhu Tara Road, if any one of you is aware of Juhu Tara Road, and there was this, it used to be called a 9-sheeter. The posters was there. And that same day, Sanjay Kapoor's film was released. And I was there on 9-sheeters on the walls, and Sanjay Kapoor was on billboard, large ones. And to add to the joy of my life, my Hero Honda was punctured that day. And that warm day, as I was pushing my Hero Honda, towards a thing, and I looked at my thing, I said, wow, these guys don't even know who's pushing this Hero Honda. This is like happening, my release is there. I was noticing how many people are looking, and it was not amiss to me that Sanjay Kapoor would be looking at his billboard from a car, a moving car, which is slightly air conditioned, I would imagine, and somebody else driving and I'm pushing. So the humor, the irony of it was not lost on me. Secondly, right after Drokal, I'll just take you a few months into it, I won the National Award for my first film ever. I can't tell you what a huge moment it was. I was shooting at Filmalaya studio for something, and there used to be a telephone there. They called me, and Govindji said, "You won the National Award." I couldn't believe it. I won the National Award. He said, "Look, listen, Andheri East, there was a mainland China. We're going to have a party there. Just go and book it." And I put the phone down, and I went back, and I think shooting with, I don't even recall what, shooting, and I said, "Can I come early?" He said, yeah. And then I got onto my bike, and I went to my friend, and I said, "How are we going to do this?" He's asked me to book mainland China, which I have been once in my life. I don't have any money. No money, how do I book? So my friend said, "Chal to say kuch karte hain." So we reached mainland China, and I walked in. So nobody, this is he who walks in. Who he. I am world famous for me, but like who he. Okay, who he walks in, and then I walk up. Mainland China is not a very large thing, and I said, "आज शाम को कुछ लोग आएंगे, तो my friend said, नहीं है, 2 टेबल, मैं कहा, 2 टेबल, तो 2 टेबल के भी पैसे किधर दूंगा मैं, तो मतलब 6 लोग आएंगे, किधर पैसे दूंगा, I'm thinking, who are the 6 people come? So I said, वो 2 की टेबल जरा बुक कर दीजिएगा, okay. Then I tell Pradeep, my friend, I said, कैसे करेंगे, तू मुझे अभी पैसे दे दियो अगली बार. Then about 7 o'clock, Govind ji walked in. हाँ सब हो गया आशीष मैंने कहा हाँ गोविंद जी उधर आशीष वो पूरा ब्लॉक करो तो पूरा ब्लॉक करो मतलब मैंने कहा अच्छा पूरा ब्लॉक करो तो दैट एंटायर इवनिंग देन person after person came in, walked in, and I was not feeling too good, so I was just having warm water. Because, and they would say, Ashish, why are you drinking? I said, nahi, I said, probably excitement or something. And you love this food? I said, yeah, but today is like heavy. So, puri sham garam pani piya. Garam pani piya, or maximum gara thoda sa nimbu pani. I was not even asking for lemonade. Charge करेंगे. मैं थोड़ा गरम पानी थोड़ा नींबू दे दीजिए मैं उसमें डाल दूंगा. पीनी तारा हुआ रहा एक के बाद एक अमरीश जी नसीर भाई ये लग all the people coming मनमोहन शेट्टी they are all coming everybody they are wearing Ashish very good well done this thing career ahead where there और मैं सोच रहा हूँ मैं looking at प्रदीप के बिल कैसे दूंगा बस करियर की बात कर रहे हैं मैं आज शाम कैसे बीतेगी वो सब करते हुए बैठा then शाम हुआ सब लोग जा रहे थे and now I muster of my courage I walk up to Govind ji I said Govind ji आज आप कर दीजिए मैं आपको एक डेढ़ महीने में आपको क्लियर कर दूंगा आशीष इट्स माय पार्टी I said what I said गोविंद जी said हाँ मैं एक सेकंड मैं यार विस्की मैं कहा विस्की लाओ प्रॉन्स लाओ I want some prawns, no chicken. I want prawns. I want prawns. If possible, the largest size. और मैं बैठा वो लोग सब जा रहे हो कह रहे हो मैं कह रहा हूँ बॉस मैं गोविंद जी पहले बताया होता पूरी शाम खाता मैं but that was one evening Pragya I was sober and you now know why so that is how success hit me, my friend.
Quite a wave of success to hit you, but people always think that this is a dream launch, right? You do Drokal, you do the kind of cinema that you would have aspired to do, you become famous for it, you become awarded for it, and then of course things must have just gotten easier and easier and easier.
Absolutely.
Did they?
Yeah, absolutely. So post Drokal, more than anything else, I really want you to get is that what people like Sanjay would have also said, Ashish, we know him from Delhi, but he's doing very well. He's a good actor. You should do good work. So you start wearing it. And I started looking for good work and started doing good work and started going as much as 750 rupees per day, twice a month, for good work, really good work. Something really speaks to you. Because you're an artist. And then it struck me that kuch hoga nahi Ashish, tu zinda hi nahi bachega. And that is when it was a very, very, right now in my life laughing, but very painful time. When I said, I will do everything that I do not believe in. It is the Dr. Faust moment where you want to feed your parents. You just get back to it. So this is a huge period in my life. I've done 230 plus films. And a whole lot of that are the Dr. Faust period. When I said that if I have to at some point be a reflection of my passion, I have to be around. Remember that was the time when good films were being made, but nobody was getting paid for it. And there are very few of them. So it was a period of a lot of pain for me, okay? And yet I was getting famous for it. I was being known for it. So I made those choices when I started doing films. And the best part was that you are suddenly being recognized for things that you may not have been very proud of. And then you suddenly realize that probably the world isn't looking at things through the prism that you think you're looking at. So it's a very dystopian world where all that you've learned as world is unlearning, and again, social formations got me in. And I just want to share this very interesting thing. The other day, somebody was talking about that how much of pain has gone into this, and how can you appreciate it? And I was talking to that person that what happens when you see Taj Mahal, or when you see the Sphinx, and if you can just see that a lot of people got killed making that. And they were, but yet there is some point in history that we forget about past pains. And we say that that's part of history. So, Pragya, it was a period of, I know that I went through the eye of the needle. And I had to tell, I was considered an absolute sellout. I mean, that was the most painful part of it. This I must share. Well, walking back into National School of Drama, as I would go in and meet my dear teachers, and I knew that look on their face, and they would say, "So Ashish, are you doing something good?" And I had nothing to say to them. And trust me, my friends, when you source your energy from people whom you respect, the most painful thing is when you see disrespect in their eyes. And yet you make the choices that you make. Now, these are not choices of a contract killer, but it's the equivalent of that. I remember once walking up to Amrish Puri, and saying that, "Amrish ji, ये films कर रहा हूँ ना, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि टार के रोड पर मुझे कोई खींच रहा है, घसीट रहा है." And he said, "आदत हो जाएगी." So it was. So, just to, Pragya's question is actually very interesting. Do you remember Barry Norman? The gentleman who used to do the show on BBC called, this one. So Barry Norman had this beautiful interview with Sharon Stone. And I may get the numbers wrong, but it's like the sense was that. So he opened the conversation after Basic Instinct. She's sitting there and he asks her, "So Sharon, after 11 years and 16 films, finally you're an overnight success." So I mean, if you just look at it, each one of us has done something, and then somebody is saying that, "Wow, overnight, man, kya. And all that I've learned is don't clarify, just say yes. I got it right this time.
Ashish, I hear you when you say that there is this dichotomy that you went through,
Yeah.
and that's the least one can call it. The pain of having to make choices that you didn't quite agree with. But I would like to offer that you're still underplaying, because a lot of work went into that, right? You didn't let Bollywood limit you, right? You went ahead and did films in many other languages. And you kept seeking that balance between what's good and what's, what you have to do, what you must do. And the biggest challenge that is to my mind in doing that is emoting in languages that you did not grow up speaking, because an actor doesn't just communicate. An actor has to express so many more nuances, even if it's a high art film, How did you meet that challenge?
So what she's mentioning is, referring to is that I work in 11 languages, and I know 3 of those. And so Pragya, very interestingly, have you believed in certain things, each one of us, something? Yes or yes? Have you also found that at times that belief is probably, there are some other beliefs also? Yeah? So my life has all been about actually discovering that there are myths and myths we believe in, and so language is at the core, as you mentioned, of an actor. And then I started working in Tamil and Telugu and Kannada, Malayalam, and I had no clue of that language. And why was I working there? For the high art of surviving. Because the kind of work that I was doing in Hindi was really painful. So I said I had to run away. And for me, life has been about it's like a chess game. That I had to run away so as I can come back and do something amazing. Because till I did, and they were very, very painful process, and without naming people. So I remember there was this time that I was working with this, assistant director to a very major director with whom I did a lot of films. And I remember I was doing an obnoxious role in an obnoxious film at Mud Island. On the 4th day evening, he tells me, he looks at me, tea time, "Ashish, you're a mind-blowing commercial film actor." He gave me such an amazing award. After all the national award, I came home and I told Pilu, I had to leave yesterday. This guy has told me this. I have to leave, And that's when I started looking for work down south, because I hated myself for the work that I was doing, and I couldn't admit it to anyone because it's my life. And I had even gone down to this amazing, amazing director, and I had seen his great films, and he invited me over. It was a matter of great honor for me. And he narrated the script to me. And you know, you've never been an actor, you guys don't know. So when the director narrates a script, that's my role. No, that's not my role. That's my role. And so this, so Ajay walks in and you say, are you Ajay? No, so Ajay goes away. So, okay, that's not my role. So as an actor, you're listening to which role is my role, And then this huge door opens and then Vivek walks in. So right next to Vivek, now this is again not my role. So you're going there till he reaches my role. And he says, Ashish, now I want you for this very interesting part. This is that. Now, at this point in your life, you know that he's explaining a very inconsequential role with a lot of energy. And Ashish. So, just mind, remember that first half that happened? Remember that? Now, this is going to the linchpin of that entire thing that has happened. So, this guy, Ashish, is a very unusual, corrupt inspector. Even at that nascent stage of my career, I had done 40 such different, corrupt khaki and the khadi. Khaki, khadi, khadi, khaki, khaki, khadi, khadi, khadi. That had all happened. And this gentleman I've seen his amazing films. This was to be a make or break moment for me. I have to go back, and one day in Algebra I would say, I remember when he narrated that role. That role didn't happen. He's telling me about an inconsequential role of a corrupt inspector, and Ashish, he walks in, and I mustered up my strength. I said, I won't, and I said, listen, I won't take his name. And I said, you know what? I won't do this role with you. He looked at me, and you see, sometimes people liberate you. They liberate you when it's terrible to be unkind to kind people. Have you ever felt that? Terrible. But people help you. So I said, I'm not going to do this film because with you I will do a different role. He was such a help. He did a Dubeji version of Bho. Huh? You do this role there. You're telling no to me. Liberated me because he was no longer kind. I got it. I said, yes, I won't do it for you. So what I meant is that getting up for me, that I will now do roles that really inspire me. For that, I will need to wipe out this blackboard which has got those roles for me, because they are not even willing to look at me different, because I've done it then. Last week I saw you there. Last release was that. I've been doing a lot of sell my soul, sell my soul, sell my soul. So what else are you offering? Sell your soul, Ashish. And at that point, that is when South started. I said, I have to wipe this, but I just can't wipe it. I have to earn my living. So that's when South happened, and South was an extraordinary experience, because people who did not know me, I did not belong to them, they embraced me. And I'm telling you, Pragya, it was that time when, it's not a joke, where it was Madrasi films. In fact, a friend of mine even some years back told me, so Ashish, you're still doing language films. Language, because remember there's Hindi, and then the rest is language. Yeah, regional, huh? It was regional, yeah. No, good. Patronizing. और मुझे जहाँ लोगों ने पेट्रोनाइज किया, मैंने कहा बस वहाँ तो खुल के करेंगे, क्योंकि दिल्ली में मुझे याद है हमारे एक दोस्त के घर में ना, मैं उनके शादी वगैरह या पता नहीं क्या था, खाने गए थे, खाने के लिए शौकीन थे, और जाके ढोलक बजा दो, ढिंग कड़क। तो आई एम हियरिंग द फैमिली दैट टेलिंग ओ मरासी आए हैं उसके। मरासी यू हर्ड, राइट? या थैंक यू। अभी सब लोग चुप हो गए। मरासी इज नॉट अ वेरी गुड थिंग टू से, बट Delhi people are very okay with saying things. Of course, did I mention to you or not? No, come on, no. Delhi, I grew up, wanted to be an actor, right? And I'm from Delhi, you know that, right? Yeah. Now listen to it. So I'm from Delhi, except from a place called Lakshmi Nagar. Haslo. So Delhi was very clear. Abhi to Delhi has become large, large-hearted. Delhi NCR, यार. कुछ एक बेचारे होते हैं जो दिल्ली में रहते हैं, बाकी सब तो एनसीआर में ही रहते हैं. तो वो एक टाइम था जब दिल्ली वाले थे, बाकी हम लोग थे जमुना पार. So I'm from Jamna Par. Okay, Jamna Par, and then looking like me, wanted to be an actor. Pet name was Kalu. Kalu. Oh, Kalu भी चलता था मेरा. I had a dear classmate. He used to call me Jallad. So when he used to walk in, I used to run towards him. Guess why? जिसे धीरे से बोलेगा जल्लाद. और जल्लाद सुन. So literally, कितनी खुशी हो रही है सबको. Very good, very good. सही है. So I went down and see, all of us, I don't know about you guys, do you need emotional succor or not? So I went up to my a very good friend's mother, and my friend is a regular call me Kalu. Kalu idhar Kalu. अच्छा नहीं लगता था यार. I was growing up, parents loving me, but going outside Kalu. बड़ा पंगा. And mother was a Bengali. You cannot have a more protected childhood with a Bengali mother. Especially when you are born out of good food. Remember? So going out, being called Kalu, I went to my friend's mother and said, Auntie, mujhe Kalu bolta hai. And she understood. Like mothers understand. She did this to me and she said, Beta, wo to tu hai. Nina, stop laughing. You want to remember, if I joke, that's my sense of humor. If you laugh, that's racism. Stop laughing, Pragya. Look, does it ring a bell?
Now coming to the question I've been waiting to really ask you. All of this journey, there's one thing in common, which is that you've remained true to your last name. You've been a lifelong Vidyarthi. And you have constantly reinvented yourself. Your latest chapter, and I'm saying latest because I'm sure there'll be many, many more, is that of a motivational speaker. How did you come upon motivational speaking? And how does your constant reinvention manifest in this latest chapter of your life?
So it's a very interesting one. See, have you ever thought that standard 6, what we learn? So no standard 6 person has reinvented in standard 7th. Never, right? अबे 6th में अभी तो 7th में है. And it's a very funny thing that, there is something about us, we become very easily cast in stone after college and after having achieved something. And in Delhi itself, while I was doing theatre, I used to see a lot of people who were dadas, bhais, who were around for people to walk up to them and they would say, ye kar, wo kar. And that time itself, I said, mujhe bhai nahi banna hai, dada nahi banna hai. Because dadas were there and people used to leave and go and they used to still be there. So during the time when I was out and working from 2000 onwards, I was doing traveling and working outside, so it was very, very painful. So it all started with me working on myself, that I was really upset and I used to come back home upset. And I said that I had to disrupt something. So that's when I started looking and I said that I'll have to find reason to be celebrating life, because my parents had very little and they were happy and I wasn't. And I remember there was this instance that I went to Kolkata, 98, 99. I was in a room which was a very small room, which hadn't been painted for a while. And I was around people and I saw so much happiness. Pragya, I saw so much happiness, I was jealous. I'd never seen so much happiness. They had very little. They had an old fridge. I could see an old fridge. The sofa was like that. There was a dining table which had seen time, sun mica, and there was happiness. So around that time, I started looking for something which will allow me to be other than just being an actor who's bitching about other people who are working, or I'm upset with myself. And that is why I started looking for programs which will do something for me. And I did this amazing program called Landmark Forum, which completely altered my take on life. And I got one thing very powerful in that, which was that suffering is an option. I'd got a sense of it many years back, but I got at that point that I had hope. I may not be a perfect one. I've always wanted to be like my father, Govind Vidyarthi. I could never be like him. I always felt second and horrible. And I discovered at that moment that I am my unique cracked egg. You know, like that boiled egg, no two boiled eggs crack the same. And at that point on, I started saying that I got to really get an opportunity to really see the blessing around me. And I found blessing around me. And I found that I am an extraordinary person in this world. And so around 2006, I started at a chance meeting again. I was at an airport, somebody saw me and they invited me sometime to speak to an organization. And then I said that I know nothing about you people. And I said that, why don't I speak some basic sense of what I see in life? So this journey started about 6 years back. And over the last 3 years with Ashish Vidyarthi and Associates and what we call Avid Miner, we've been doing some amazing programs in which I've been just sharing with people that there is hope. Because something which excites me in life is that if that one day that we are going through, we make it so heavy, don't we? Yeah? And I've discovered that if I can make it light, I can have a laugh at it now, rather than having a laugh at it some years later. And that's what we do with organizations. That's what we do with groups of people, allowing them to see that each one of us has an extraordinary ability to make a difference to ourselves. So this game is not for us working for them. It is for me really celebrating the extraordinary version that I am. And that I am is happening in this life right now. Okay, with the money that I have, with the knowledge that I have, with the group that I have. And another interesting thing, as an actor, you know, many people recognize you. They used to take autographs, now they take selfies. And it never missed me that my father was never recognized. And he was an extraordinary human being. And if we take it a little further, we realize that all of us love to find heroes away from us, very far and distant. And it struck me, how will it be if we can find amazing people around us? So my work is all about people celebrating the extraordinary opportunity called life at the place that they are working, and the opportunity that we have to learn and to actually rewire ourselves at each moment. And the flexibility which is offered when we are not fossilized. You know, I'm 53, I'm playing my second innings. And the second half is something which each one of us can live from the moment that we are. And what is available to us is not just stuff that we didn't do, but the possibility of actually achieving and doing things that really inspire us. And for too long, we have lived in life of aspiration, that car and that bungalow and that position. On the other hand, if we get that, can I be inspired by a restaurateur? That what a wonderful restaurant that person is running. And can I be inspired and open my own yoga class? You know, doing something that speaks to us rather than living a life that somebody else is living. So that's the kind of work that we do.
I'm going to take the liberty to ask you one final question to conclude our chat, even though the bell has gone off, which is that you talk to a lot of young people and as part of the work that you do. And two of the things that I believe are the maladies of our times. One is super specialization, right? I mean, earlier we used to start studying for entrance in class 11. Now we start studying for entrance in class 7, right? And like, you have to be a doctor. You don't just have to be a doctor, you have to be a heart surgeon, and that's it. This is your life. You have defied that, and it can't have been easy, right? how do you speak to people who have grown up in that mold, and what would you tell them to follow what they want to do, even if it's 20 different things, and be their own mentors?
So, so years back, Tata Steel ad. You remember the Tata Steel ad a few years back? Remember that? We also make steel. Imagine Tata Steel saying, we also make steel. हम इस्पात भी बनाते हैं. And वो उसने मुझे बहुत liberate किया. मैंने कहा कि यार I can also be an actor. In fact, I'm also an actor. I'm also a son, also a father, also a writer, also a traveler, also a blogger. That also world actually are facets of us. If you look at today's day and age, it's a day in which people are bringing multiple specialities to their life. So if we look at the world of the AI that's coming up, or the world of the new businesses and new works which are coming up, innovation which is coming up, it is all inside of allowing various thoughts to touch us. And I think I had very kind parents, and I was very lucky to go to an amazing school, Shiv Niketan. Auntie Goba allowed me to actually experience different times. But more often than not, later on, it was my ability to deflect the questions that people ask. You know, people ask that beautiful question called, what do you do? And then you say that, I'm an actor. And they say, oh, so what do you do? You know, and now remove the actor. And if you are what that thing says on your visiting card. And you'd be loath if somebody answers, I'm a father, and say, yeah, but what do you do? Because we so much want a square answer to our square question. And it's just that our ability to handle that particular point of that pressure that people have of us defining them, ourselves according to them. If we can go past that, I think that phenomenal thing that our life is all about, which only we know. And it's true for each one of us. You know, there's something which we really want to do. And I think the thing is that, yes, they will keep defining us the way they do, as long as you can pay your bills, very critical. So keep moving and you keep paying the bills, and that's what I'm doing at this point.
Wonderful, Ashish. Thank you so much. If there's something I take away from this talk, it's going to be this last thing you said. Thank you for talking to us.
Appreciate it. I want to appreciate Nina. I want to appreciate my dear friend Ramakant for having connected us just 10 days back. Appreciated Pragya for some interesting questions. Thank you so appreciate each one of you. Some dear friends are here, and some people I have not met for some years, and some people, I'm very happy that each one of you are part of this journey. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका. Thank you.
I join Ashish in thanking you. He's going to be outside.